Ag Bioscience, the #1 ag tech podcast globally, is now available on video. Hear from leaders and innovators across food, animal health, plant science, ag tech, and agriculture. Mondays at 6 a.m. on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. While you're there, subscribe and leave us a review. It's the Ag Bioscience Podcast with Agronovis Indiana. Get more information at agronovisindiana.com.
Welcome back to the Indiana Lawyer Podcast. I'm your host, Maura Johnson. There's no such thing as a typical day in the life of a paralegal. Between delegating tasks and case research, each day takes on a life of its own in service of their attorneys and the greater good of the legal profession. But beyond the countless meetings and e-discovery, these professionals show up for one another, developing relationships and pinpointing educational opportunities to foster in each other a sense of pride for the work they do and the community they're a part of. In today's episode, I'm joined by Dawn Edmondson and Monica Dabio, who, in addition to being litigation paralegals, serve as president and past president of the Indiana Paralegal Association. Established in 1979 as the Indianapolis Paralegal Association, and later renamed in 1983 to serve as a statewide organization, the Indiana Paralegal Association supports paralegals through networking, educational opportunities, and, most recently, a brand new online job bank. The women join me to share more about their individual journeys in the field and how IPA works to encourage its members year-round. But before we hear from them, here's a word from our sponsor.
Taft, today's modern law firm. At Taft, we cultivate a highly respectful, transparent workplace that fosters creativity, teamwork, inclusion, and diversity. We couple our culture with a client-first approach, rewarding lawyers who understand their clients' goals and work to deliver success. Taft, the modern law firm. To learn more, visit taftlaw.com.
Thank you so much to both of you for joining me. I really appreciate it. Can you start by just telling me how you both got into the paralegal profession individually?
All right. I guess I'll go first. When I was 11, I thought I wanted to be a lawyer. When I was looking at colleges, that was one of the things I had looked for, was something law related that I could get some experience in. And I came across at the time it was called the Legal Administration Program at Ball State. At the time, it was the only ABA-approved paralegal program in Indiana. That was really intriguing.
Yeah.
And so I signed up, went to Ball State, and really enjoyed the classes, really enjoyed the work. And when I found out more about what the paralegal does versus the attorney, I found my fit. I really liked the paralegal role.
Yeah. Talking about you.
Mine wasn't as straightforward. I had a kind of a windy path to get here. High school office lab, somebody mentioned a paralegal. And when we started talking about what that was, it intrigued me. The research part of it intrigued me because I like to dig in and find and get the little nitty-gritty things. But out of high school, I ended up getting married young and having a family. And I did work as a legal secretary at a small firm. And they actually started my educational path for me. I started some paralegal courses over here at IUPUI and then fell apart, stayed home with the kiddos for a bit. But when I came back to work, I then finished my degree. It took a lot longer, but I finished in 2019 with a bachelor's in law. I was considering going on to law school, but the timing wasn't right. So I started working full-time as a paralegal in 2012. Before that, I did a lot of the hybrid legal assisted paralegal stuff, but mostly litigation, and I just enjoy it.
Yeah. What is it about, that I know, Dawn, you said the research, but can you tell me about just what it is about the profession that really interested you both and led you to pursue the paths that you did?
I would have to agree with Dawn that a lot of it was the digging and the investigation into the facts of a case and finding those little nuggets of information that help the case move forward. That was really interesting to me. And also the technology part of it was really interesting to me. E-discovery was starting to become a thing, and
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that area, and I had a knack for technology. So I kind of like that part of it too.
Yeah.
Pretty much the same. It's a challenge sometimes to find those things that I think that's what draws me to it. I like to be challenged. I like to dig for the small things. And also e-discovery was starting to become a thing. So, and it is fun and challenging sometimes as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and oh, sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. I don't know if you've found this, Dawn, but I've liked litigation specifically because you learn about so many different things. All your cases are a little bit different. You get to learn about different products, things are out there if you're doing product liability. I've done class action work. So I get to learn a lot about railroads and rights of way and contaminated plasma products, all kinds of things throughout the years. So it's been pretty interesting. And I always like to learn about that. And that was what makes it unique from case to case.
Yeah, it feels very much like almost like a jack of all trades where you wear several hats depending on what cases you're working on and what attorneys need. Can you tell me, I feel like a day in the life probably doesn't look typical day to day, but when you're working on a case, what does that look like for you guys? Can you just walk me through maybe a week in your life?
I think that's going to vary by not only by firm, but by attorney and also by practice area. I mean, Monica and I are both in litigation, but somebody who is in estate planning or real estate, their day is going to look completely different than ours does. I can describe yesterday.
Okay. Well, and I mean, we had mentioned before the recording that you were getting ready, sending documents in for a case. What does it look like when you're preparing for a case in litigation and you're working alongside the attorney? What does that kind of process look like?
I think a lot of that depends on the attorney, as Dawn said, and the team that you're working with. Everybody starts to get into their own roles. I find myself, when I start working on a case, I become sort of like a case manager. I get all the details, make sure all the deadlines are getting met, keeping the lawyers on track, as well as the rest of the team. So dealing with vendors, clients, if you need to reach out to clients to get additional information, things like that. So a lot of our day just depends on where the case is in the process. Early on, it would be obtaining documents from the clients. During the discovery process, it would be reviewing those documents for productions, reviewing the documents we get from the other side, finding those relevant pieces of information, assisting with preparations of depositions, finding those documents that are relevant and the information they need to prepare their outlines for their whatever deponent they have that day. Like progressing along those lines, drafting pleadings, finding the exhibits for their dispositive motions or summary judgments, things of that nature. Trial prep is a little bit different. That also depends on the team that you have. Sometimes my team consists of 3 partners and me. So I have a lot more to do in those circumstances. Sometimes it's 1 or 2 partners and then associates. And so then it looks a little different depending on that role. And I have been tasked with a lot of our paralegals here at Taft have started working on evidence presentation. So if there's a lot of documents need to be presented at a trial or evidentiary hearing, instead of outsourcing that, we've been taking on that role as well.
Yeah.
Pretty much everything Monica said. Also drafting discovery and sometimes drafting discovery responses. As far as organizing our case management, I have just like, it's a weekly email that goes out that has all of the deadlines for the team and who's handling it, because I don't know who to go to and say, what are we doing here? We got to get this out. And that helps them. They like that. They like to be able to know who's in charge of what. Because my group, almost every single case, every attorney has an appearance. We can have anywhere from 3 to 6 attorneys appearing in a case. So it's just easier if they all know what's going on and who's handling it. She mentioned exhibits and pulling and preparing those. I don't think I have anything else to add to what Monica said. That's pretty much what a day looks like.
Well, and I know for me, I'm pretty unfamiliar with just the profession of paralegals itself, but do you guys ever run into maybe some misconceptions about the profession that I'm just kind of curious, what do you see in terms of misconceptions when it comes to the field?
For me, and maybe I've just been blessed, but it seems like people always think that attorneys are difficult to work for, that they're like sirs or that type of person. And I've not ever had that. Maybe I have been just very blessed in the people that I've worked with, that it's always more of a team atmosphere to me.
I would agree with that too. I've been really lucky over the years. I mean, I've been doing this a really long time, and I've been very lucky with the firms and the attorneys I've been able to work for. They've all been great people. I've learned a lot from each and every one of them. Outside of the legal field, I've run into people who don't know what a paralegal does, and so they'll ask me, "So what exactly does that mean?" And so you explain and you go through a typical day, and it's amusing because I've gotten this multiple times. They will look at me a little confused and ask, "What does the lawyer do?" So it's cute.
Yeah.
But yeah, so outside of the legal field, sometimes that's a little different. And I have run into solo practitioners in trials and things that don't know what I do until they see it. So
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Yeah. Is there anything about your work that people may find surprising that they may not know? Like, oh, I didn't realize that was your role in case preparation or something.
I think it probably depends. I mean, from attorneys, it's typically if you arrive at a firm that not everybody utilizes a paralegal, then they start to see what you do for your team in the way of drafting and reviewing documents and things of that nature. They're like, oh, I didn't know that I could use a paralegal for that, either in lieu of or replacing, in addition to an associate, things of that nature to kind of keep things moving forward.
Yeah.
I think sometimes you have to teach them how to use you just by taking the initiative and handling things.
Yeah. Well, and I want to kind of go back. I know that you both mentioned just the change in technology with e-discovery was something that you found really interesting about the profession. I cover a lot of artificial intelligence and its interaction with the law here at the lawyer. So I'm curious, I always have to ask, how has just the introduction of AI and how your individual firms use it maybe changed your jobs at the firm?
For me, in some ways, it's made it a little bit easier in that I do a lot of deposition summaries, and I can use that tool. You still have to go through it because sometimes, but I can use that as a tool to just get it started and go through it in it's a little bit of a shortcut in that aspect. Sometimes the research aspect of it is a little easier. We've taken things like in this preparing for trial, I've taken like all of the varying parties, like witness list, and put them in and had it do a comparison to see which witness is on all of the lists and which ones are only on one.
Right.
And same with the exhibits. That's been very helpful in trying to whittle things down a little bit. So it's been an interesting thing to do.
I agree with that. We have been using various tools that incorporate AI. Our firm has a committee that goes through and evaluates different programs. And it goes through a whole rigorous sort of security background. Just make sure it's a safe product to use. And then we do a really good job of providing training and so that everybody here knows how to use it, how to utilize it, the pros and cons, things of that nature. Because we're always talking about how best to take advantage of those things. But I agree, deposition summaries have been really good. Transcripts of audio files has been really interesting for me. I've had that come up in the last few weeks. I've been able to utilize some products that have been able to go through and transcribe everything, and then I just have to go behind it and review it. So it takes a lot of that pressure off, and it makes my job more efficient, I think.
Yeah.
Faster.
Shifting gears a little bit, we both have leadership roles with the Indiana Paralegal Association. For those who may not be familiar, whether they're a law student or an attorney who, again, doesn't utilize paralegals as much, can you just explain what the mission of the association is and what it gives to its members?
IPA has been around since 1979, and our mission it's evolved a little bit, but it's primarily the same. It's an organization that's created by paralegals for paralegals, whether they're students or part-time paralegals or things of that nature. But we provide them environment to network, even in this digital age. Networking is still very important. You can get a lot of information and just collaborate with people. I've found all kinds of different solutions. I found people in the organization that were like the Excel expert or Microsoft Access expert. And so you can go to them and say, well, I have this little problem. That has been really nice. And I've met a lot of really wonderful paralegals that way. But we also provide educational opportunities. That's one of the big things that we like to do. We have meetings every month, and we try to provide speakers that are relevant to a wide variety of paralegals, and not just litigation or real estate or things of that nature. We try to broaden that perspective. And we also provide support for paralegal students who may or may not know where they want to go post graduation. We've been out to several schools, IU, Indy, Ball State, different places like that, to do panels with paralegal students so they can get an idea of what we do in different practice areas. And we also offer a job bank so that employers around the state can post their jobs and have access to a large group of paralegals. So those are the big things that we like to do. And on a larger scale, we're there to promote the profession, both locally, nationally, whatever we think is appropriate.
I know that when law students get hired at firms, usually it's like a summer associate pipeline. What does that look like for paralegals? What does that kind of job hunting or progress look like for the profession?
You want to take this on?
Sure. I know that we are trying to pilot, and we're not quite sure how it's going to work yet, like a job shadowing kind of situation for some of our students. Where that creates an issue is a little bit of confidentiality stuff. So we're working out those kinks. We're trying to figure that out. I think for a lot of paralegals, not all, but a lot, I think we maybe just got our foot in the door as maybe a receptionist or a legal assistant, or I think there may be one or two that started in a copy center. I mean, it's just some of it is on top of the education is the experience that you gain to get there step by step. Not that it's a promotion necessarily, is more of it's a getting your foot in the door and learning the ropes of how things go.
There are the ABA programs require internships, And so that's where a lot of students, that's their first experience if they've not previously been working in a law firm, which a lot of them do. I've met a lot of paralegals who started out as receptionists or legal assistants and then worked while they got their education. And then when they finished their degree, then they either worked with the firm they were at in order to move into a role, a paralegal role, or they found a role elsewhere that would allow for that. But a lot of paralegals learn from their internships and just the same way as the lawyers do their summer clerkships.
Mm-hmm.
If the firm really likes them and then they have an opening, they might get considered for that role.
Individually, what would you both say, and Dawn, we can start with you, is maybe the most fulfilling part of being in this profession, both working alongside attorneys and also within the IPA and working with fellow paralegals?
So as far as the IPA and working with fellow paralegals, I think for me, I enjoy the networking part of it. I enjoy meeting people and learning about what they do and how they do things and listening to our speakers in our meetings and stuff. But I can just have a conversation with a paralegal at a networking event or a luncheon, and we can share ideas within that 5 or 10 minutes that I can take back and apply to what I'm doing. And so I enjoy that. That's probably my favorite thing about being part of the association. And as a paralegal in the profession, the challenge. I like to be challenged. If I'm not challenged, I'm bored. So just the challenge of, well, I need this and I need this 5 minutes ago. Okay, I have 15 other things you wanted 5 minutes ago, but still being able to get it all done and accomplished in a timely manner. I enjoy that challenge very much.
As far as being part of IPA, I have also really enjoyed getting to know people. I've met a lot of, like I said before, I met a lot of wonderful paralegals over the course of the last few decades. But I have also, I think probably the first job that I had in Indianapolis, I actually hunted for. When I started out, before I graduated from Ball State, I started working for a judge in Delaware County. So it was really quick and easy transition. But then I wanted to move down to Indianapolis and I had to hunt for that job. But I think that's the only job I really had to hunt for. I got involved in IPA, met a lot of people, talked a lot about what we do and things of that nature. And from there, it was like, oh, hey, our firm's looking for somebody. Would you like to send in your resume and we'll see what happens? But I think my friendships with folks, the other paralegals, has helped me in that regard, move from job to job. I've also enjoyed getting to hear from our speakers. Really interesting. We've had all kinds of interesting speakers over the years. We've also had wonderful vendors that come in and support the organization. And I've known several of our vendors for 20 years. And they've become people that I can pick up the phone and say, I have this question. Mm-hmm. And they're experts in their field and they are really good about helping out and finding answers when we need them.
Yeah.
As far as professionally, just being in the profession, I enjoy the challenge. I think over the years, I have been challenged enough that I've stepped out of my comfort zone a little at a time, and that has been really fun. If you had asked me when I was in high school if I would have ever been president of Indiana Paralegal Association, I would have said, no way. I have to get up and speak in front of people? No. So that has been something that caused me to challenge myself and test my own leadership skills. But I enjoy the attorneys I work for. They often challenge me to do new things, different things. So that has been a lot of fun along the way.
I know, Monica, you were past president, and Dawn, you're now president of the association. Can you tell me, is there anything in the works in the next few months with IPA that you guys are really excited about and kind of want to share to the community of listeners?
We're always excited about our silent auction that happens in December. This year, we're partnered with a company called Out of the Box. And Monica could probably tell you a little more about them than I can. But our silent auction every year is one of our biggest events because we get donations from the community. And so all the funds from the auction go straight to our charitable partner. And it's a good time for everybody to get together and network, dress up in their Christmas work clothes and have lunch and just sit down and be together.
That is one of probably our most popular events outside of the meeting that you attended last month with our installation of new officers and award presentations. Our silent auction has become well known. We've done that for quite a long time. And every year we pick a different charitable partner. And it's nice to hear from those groups around Indiana and just be able to learn about them and hear what they have to do. And it's not only has it given us an opportunity to give back to the community, but I think some of our members have even joined as volunteers later to this whole year-long thing that we try to do. So, and Outside the Box is a great organization. They provide educational and experience opportunities to individuals, and we've been working with them. We're going to try to do a tour of their facility in the 2 weeks and offer an opportunity to do maybe some work, volunteer experience, like a project, things of that nature. But they are really excited. They're the folks that come in and do their educational classes. They either get bussed in from various facilities where they currently reside, and they provide them with education. They do all kinds of creative crafts. Their artwork is really exciting, and you could see a lot of that online. They have like an online gallery, but they also have a choir, and we're hoping to see the choir at our silent auction too. So that ought to be fun.
That's awesome.
But yeah, a lot of times I think our silent auction is really fun. We're all competitive. So we like to challenge each other and one-up each other on these silent auction items. So
I love that. Well, and if anyone listening wants to get involved with IPA, how can they reach out to you guys? How can they find you?
Our email is info@indianaparalegals.org. And that goes to all of the board members. It at least goes to the 4 officers. So someone will get back with them if they're interested that way. They are welcome to come to any of our monthly luncheon meetings, and those are the 3rd Thursday of every month. This month it will be on August the 20th, and it will be here at Bose McKinney. We are having a speaker on AI prompting, so it will be a really good meeting. Are there any other ways they can get a hold of us, Monica?
you can visit our website at Indiana Paralegal. We have a lot of information available on our website, basically about what we do, our mission. You can join right online through the website, and you can see all of our meetings. If you're not currently a member and you just want to come to a meeting, you're more than welcome to attend a meeting, sort of meet a few people, see if it's something you're interested in. We have that new job bank platform that have just launched within the last 2 weeks as something we've been working really hard towards. And we're hoping that there's a whole host of information on the website about it, but we're really hoping that takes off really well. We've had a few job postings. It also allows paralegals to post their resume so that employers who are looking can find and reach out to paralegals that might have the skill set they're looking for.
Awesome.
Those are the best ways. And obviously, I'm sure I could probably say this on behalf of Dawn too. They can always reach out to us individually. Our information is on the website. You can go through and see our board of directors page, and you can click on that and email any one of us. And we'd be happy to talk to you about what we do, what the association does. If they want to become more involved in the association, we have the board of directors, but we all have committees and things where they can get involved. So it's a great opportunity.
Well, I will be sure to also add those links into our description for you guys. So thank you both so much for joining me. I really appreciate you taking the time, and I enjoyed the conversation. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for inviting us.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for listening to the Indiana Lawyer Podcast. For more news on what's happening in the legal community across the state, please head over to our website at theindianalawyer.com. There, you'll be able to subscribe to our daily newsletter and find more episodes of this podcast. You can also explore the podcast in the IBJ Media Network and check out stories from our sibling publications. And don't forget to follow us on social media.